loud Camaro. Dad joke for my dad friend over here. It does look like Jeremy Lauder is getting out of the way of the Amore Autosports BMW. It took me a second to realize what that logo was on the side. I'm so used to the Amore car being an Evo that I had to stare at it for a second.
Yeah, but I don't know if you got a chance to look under the hood of that car.
LS?
2J.
Ah, fantastic. I appreciate everything about that. It's just so natural to ask LS because it's...
I know.
It's the K series of the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
It's the 8-cylinder K series.
Or like, you know, the way people explain it is that the 2J is the LS of the Japanese world.
Yeah, it's just
swap it in everything.
It's a long motor. It's hard to swap it in everything.
I would just say Barra everything personally, but that motor is even harder to put into things
and harder to get here.
Well, it does look like the Crawford Subaru was getting out of the way there for Nick Steniford. They were coming into bus stop all cattywampus right there, so I think they felt their lap was probably already being hindered, so they got out of the way. Jarrell Natividad, fastest lap of this session so far with a 154.220. Jeremy Lauder did get out of the way of a couple cars, so I'm sure we'll see him go a little bit faster than the 202, 203 he just laid down.
Oscar Jackson is reeling in a couple cars. He is moving out there.
Yeah, and I don't know how long it's been since he's personally driven Buttonwillow, but I'm sure it's been a minute since he's driven it in competition. So he's probably just getting up to speed.
Yes, but Oscar is a phenomenal driver. He can wheel just about any car out there and wheel it fast.
It does look like this EK hatchback had a little off a few seconds ago, so we're just tracking him, making sure he's okay. One of the drivers of this car is actually Jeffrey Ting, who is very well known for his enthusiast class Honda Civic Type R. Young T is not a driver that I've personally have met yet, but obviously teaming up with Jeff, it's great to see a seasoned driver with someone else out there. Hopefully they can really lay down some laps once they get it all figured out. That's Joseph Nacion with a 202 in his Evo. Nick Steniford also the 202 in his S2000. It is Nick and Savannah registered in the car. I'm going to assume Nick is driving session 1, but you know what happens when you assume.
Yeah, I believe Nick posted a new PB yesterday in practice, so he is looking to show up and shut it down with a new personal best in competition for himself.
That'd be great. Though obviously setting PBs is what we all want to achieve. We want to do it where it's held somewhere someone can see.
Yep.
Setting a lap time out of competition is not something that's held in any record books because there's, number one, no one there to verify the car was within class or spec, et cetera, et cetera. So no one wants to set a PB on practice day and then not do better during competition.
Oscar hanging it out there. Good bus stop.
Oscar is definitely someone who's comfortable driving with a little bit of angle in the car. Funny enough, the last time, I believe, and I hope Novak doesn't have to correct me on this, I believe this is the same GT3 he's had for a while. Clint Boisdeau drove this car last time in competition.
Oh, that's right, he did.
Now, Clint Boisdeau, that's a name from GTA Past. We don't have to get into that for front-wheel drive car to go sub 2. I am sad to see that Renner did not bring their main car, but I did just see Damien go over all of Peter's car. It's nice to see Damien out there actually having to work the hard side, not just sitting in the car.
Yeah, I believe Renner brought 3 cars that they're supporting out here, so it's always good when a shop like that shows up.
Oscar hard on the brakes, wanted to make sure he didn't lose any time going into Sunrise. GD hatchback. As we get lower in these groups, as we do base off time differential, we're going to see cars that look less and less crazy because we're getting into the streets and enthusiast class on these. And again, it's great to see these guys out here driving in anger, trying to set their fastest lap in competition. That right there, that's how you hang a car out. There's a good shot of Sunrise. You know, I'll be very honest with you, no matter how many times I've driven this place or been here, when you're seeing it from the air, it takes you a real quick second to realize what portion of the track you're looking at. That's going to be turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 complex, some of the slowest corners on the track. Though this part of the track doesn't make or break your lap, it does make a big difference on how you come in here into Cottons. I will say, and I've heard many drivers say this, between Cotton Corner and Phil Hill is where your entire lap is made or broken.
Yeah, you can really do some damage to your lap, especially through bus stop and things like that in this corner. And you can get a judge of how fast people are actually going just by their entry and exit and bus stop.
Absolutely, and as everything here, you know, compounds off one another, if you have to slow down through the truck stop, bus stop complex, your speed through Riverside is compromised. Your speed through Riverside is going to take you to Phil Hill, where you naturally have to slow down. You want to carry as much speed from Cottons to Phil as physically possible. Then, of course, it's all about being precise, going through the sweeper to the S's, making sure your braking point into Sunset is good and your turn in. Those are obviously very important to your lap, but every driver will tell you if you make a mistake from Cottons to Phil, it's not going to be a PB.
Yep, and as we just saw on live stream, Novak walking around his car taking tire pressures. They're currently sitting with a 150.22, so they are moving out there, getting a little data and feedback from Oscar, and they're going to probably go back out and hit another flyer.
Well, knowing Oscar and knowing Novak, they just want to make sure tire temps are good, and I don't really see them trying to park it till the next session. What was the lap time that Nick sent in practice? Do you know?
I'll have to look it up. I think he posted it on Facebook.
Was it faster or slower than a 55.9?
I'm not sure.
All right, fantastic. I love putting you on the spot, my friend.
Yep,
Nick just laid down a 155.96. Now, to be fair, he is classed an unlimited class car, but it's because this is his wheel-to-wheel car, basically, is the best way to put it, right? He runs GLTC in this car. He runs NASA in this car. We do have a personal best from Nick. The lap time he set in practice was a 56.0, so big shout out to him and his team. Already going faster in what we would call not the money session. I think the next session is probably the money session. Track's going to be warmer. Air temps is still cool. Obviously, people going off through bus stop is always going to be a problem here. You're always going to have dirt there. But for the most part, the track is clean, and these guys probably love it because the sweeper just went out.
Yeah, it is perfect. Session 2 is really great. Air temp's still cool. The other thing that some people don't think about is the sun is higher in the sky, so it heats up the track better, and it's out of your face when you're coming down that straight into turn 1. It can be blinding for the first session of the day and the last session of the day.
Oh, it's the worst when you're actually turning into bus stop and the sun is just in your face on a corner you naturally can't see anyways.
Yeah, the last time I drove here, the only real session I got a couple laps together was the last session of the day, and I went into bus stop and I couldn't figure out how people actually do this.
They're the professionals.
Yeah, they definitely are.
That's Jake Graham and his Subaru. Jake Graham is someone that we see at almost all of our events, honestly. They have a very, very beautiful WRX. It's an FA20 car. I do remember that. It's not an EJ car, and they've really pushed the limits with that chassis. They're going fast. They go faster every event. It's great to see the driver get more and more comfortable with the car. The thing that a lot of people don't realize, and Paul understands this just as well as I do because we deal with so many sides of this sport, is people look at the times that competitors set and go, man, they're fast. But what they don't look at are the years it took for them to get there. The events, the sleepless nights, the coming and setting up, changing setup little by little just to go fast. And it's so good to see teams coming year after year going faster and faster. All it takes is that one breakthrough year, and all of a sudden you go from a mid-pack driver to the very front.
Yeah, and that's the name of the sport, right? It's just continuous improvement is really what you want to look at if you want to get really corporate about your word choice. Continuous improvement is what we're looking at for time attack. Whether the car hasn't changed, maybe the driver's just got some more seat time and is more comfortable with the car, or you've made some big changes. You've increased your aero. You built the car to the limit of the rules. I mean, we remember Marcos and the Snail team. Like all of a sudden, he flipped a switch and he was like, "I'm gonna beat everybody."
Took a year off, if I'm not mistaken. He was going to events, maybe 2 years. He blew the head gasket at the hottest event GTA has ever seen at Chuckwalla, and I believe he took the next year off. And then he showed back up, and it was record. People are like, he flipped a switch. Well, truth be told, he'd spent all those years putting in the work already. And all it took was a little off time, a few setup changes, and the next thing you know, the guy just can't do wrong.
Yeah, he had a great team behind him with Travis and Taylor, and those guys are track Subaru experts, I'll call them. They know what can and can't be done, and they put it all together in one car with a great driver behind him.
You know who else has done that, who's a more recent, still competing? Damian Tuchinishki.
Yep.
How many times have we seen the Renner car show up and put 80% of it together, but have something small happen or just not be able to finish? Then last year, they show up and they're just disgustingly fast.
Yep.
Whatever they did, it was obviously the hard work was part of it, but just something happened and the light switch, boom, and then all of a sudden they're out there and they're competing with the fastest of limited class.
Yeah, I kind of feel like sometimes with time attack, these cars are so stressed, absolutely stressed to the max. We're getting every horsepower out of these engines, and
it's not just the cars. I believe it's their bank accounts too.
That too. That is true. But I feel like time attack's probably about 50% luck too, that your car just happens to hold together for that lap.
You know, it's all about setup, being ready, coming prepared, and you make your own luck is what some people will say. But even if you do everything right, you run into a tire delamination. You run into a catastrophic failure. You run into an ABS unit failing. It's how you come out of these things that really make the difference between a team that will succeed and a team that won't.
Yeah, I tried to shake my car down before I came out here because I know Buttonwillow is a cruel mistress. And the biggest thing that I ran into is the car wanted to rattle itself apart. So we were tightening every bolt, Loctiting everything after each session because bolts were trying to fall out. And it's just some of those things that you just can't prepare for until you're at the track. You can't shake a car down on the street.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the best. Luckily, what I will tell you is a lot of these competitors are not one-time Andes. You know, they don't just come out and go, "Oh, I liked her. Oh, I didn't." I don't think you get into time attack like that. You work your way up to this, and once you've made the decision that I want to do this, you do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people that come run with us and continue to run with us, they might start as a crew member for one of the guys out here, and they really fall in love with the sport and how we run it. and they might have their own car, and they might say, hey, you know what, I want to actually try this, I want to jump into this, and you'll see a team start showing up with a second car, or they'll shift focus to another driver in another car.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And like every other sport, there's attrition. Life happens. God forbid, vehicle gets damaged, takes a long time to bring it back. But I think that's what we love the most. I mean, we've been watching the Crawford car go around. That car was actually campaigned by Crawford, the engine building company, the shop.
Yep.
And they put it away in a dark corner one day, and then bam, someone bought it and said, I'm competing this car in Time Attack, just to see it come back. It's a rebirth. You're actually doing the same thing, funny enough.
Yep. I remember seeing the Crawford car at the Modified Mag Tuner Shootout in 2010, I believe it was.
That was in Arizona, right?
Yeah, we had it at Wild Horse Pass, or Firebird at that time, and that's the event that got me into Time Tech. I went to this. That was my first track event that I went to, and I saw these crazy cars, and I was like, I want to be a part of this because this is cool.
Well, see, what ruined your life is you moved to Arizona, you got linked up with the mad scientist Tony Zerka at UMS Tuning, and now every bit of extra money you have that's not involved with remodeling your house or paying for your child goes into your car.
Yep, and unfortunately, it's not a lot. So, but we're doing the best we can. And in the time that the car's been down, I managed to pick up a Miata just for some seat time to keep it fresh and just help me stay sharp.
And you picked up becoming a hairdresser for a little extra money. So, I mean, I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, it's good. It's, a little side gig.
We do have the lull. The cars are coming off. What you do see out there right now, that's going to be Group 4, Session 1 getting ready, okay? Group 4, Session 1. They're going to go hot at 10. Because we had that small incident where we had to clean everything up on track, we had to push things back just a little. It's related on scheduling and cars and grids. The one and only unspoken John Villa, he makes it happen. We had a small incident. He was able to redo the whole schedule, keep us on track, get the cars out there, get them all the time they need. So as these cars come in from their laps and their session, we'll get ready to throw Group 4 out there. For those of you curious who is in Group 4, I'm going to throw some names at you. We have Aaron Gong, was able to turn into a Pro Comp car for Time Attack. Great to see him out there. He takes that across the states. He's ran Super Lap, Grid Life with it. It's great to see him out there. Okay. Robert Robles in his GR86. Richard Klein, which is going to be another